right, Senate Republicans racing to strike a deal on health care before the 4th of July recess. So what's it going to take to get holdouts on board? Here with his prescription to fix Obamacare, Nebraska Senator 1sasse joins us from the Russell Rotunda. Good morning,
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So what's your plan? Because so far nothing's really working in the Senate for the Republicans.
Yeah, so I want maximum repeal, however much repeal we can do under these arcane budget reconciliation rules. And then I want to have a conversation about real replace. To date, we've been trying to do those two things at once and not been making enough progress. I still hope that process could work, but most people are leaving D.C. today to go home for the 4th of July weekend. And so if we don't get this resolved by the Monday of the next week, July 10th, if there isn't a combined repeal and replace plan, I'm writing a letter to the president this morning urging him to call on us to separate them. Every Republican in the U.S. Senate, except for one, has already voted for repeal in the past. Let's do that first. If we can't do them together, let's do as much repeal as we can, and then let's have the president ask us to cancel our August state work period and stay here and then work on replace separate. We made promises to the American people. We should fulfill them.
Senator, does that mean if you do repeal without a replacement, does that mean people will be left without insurance until you find a way to replace this?
No. What I am recommending is that we give comfort to the American people by repealing the maximum amount of Obamacare that we can, but add a one-year delay before that would be effective. So there's an action-forcing event so that we get to work, so that we're actually working to do the replace plan. We need repeal. We need replace. Trying to do them together hasn't seemed to work. Maybe it will over the next week or week and a half. I would be willing to compromise on some stuff that wouldn't necessarily be my ideal, but we need to do as much repeal as we can. Every Republican's voted for that. Let's do it again and then stay here and keep working.
Senator, so you would call for the Senate to stay in session through the August vacation if you can't get this done? Because the American people look at what you were sent to do, and it's not getting done. Would you say folks should stay in Washington, and if it doesn't happen?
Yeah, I tend to object to the word vacation because it's really important to learn from our constituents as well. I think we'd be better off as a country if Washington wasn't always the center of the world. So I call it state work period because you're traveling Nebraska. I do field events and I'm listening to my constituents. But I think we should stay in D.C. for August and get a replace plan done if we haven't gotten it done by the end of next week. But first, let's repeal everything we can. That's the promise we all made.
Senator, real quickly, I know you've talked to the president, vice president a lot about health care repeal, and at one point, didn't he ask you, since you are from Nebraska, about what kickback you were getting?
Yeah, I'm one of 5 people in the U.S. Senate who's never been a politician before. I don't think this place is the center of the world. I think your backyard barbecuing this weekend is the center of the world. But President Trump can be pretty witty, and he knows that a senator who predated me from Nebraska was also named Ben, and he negotiated for a big Cornhusker kickback. So the president asked me if that's what I was holding out for, and he and I had a moment of real unity that we're both against that kind of swamp insider dealing.
All right.
All right, Senator.
Senator 1sasse, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.